Hello, hello, and welcome to Brutally Honest Talk Radio. This is Elmo the Conservative, and this is the most fun that you will have this week on a political podcast. Thank you for joining us. This is going to be a great show. So, I have with us in the studio Shayna, and she's got an interesting story that she's going to tell. She's got a crossover story coming from the blue side to the red side, from the Democrat to the Republican, and so she's going to talk a little bit about that, and then we're going to go into um, the pandemic, that time period, and just she's going to give some insights on that and some things that she learned and I learned about it. So, uh, hello, Shayna. Thank you again for agreeing to be on this show, and it's a pleasure to have you. So,
Thank you. Thank you,
how
Elmo.
y- how you feeling today? How you doing?
I'm feeling great. Feeling great.
That's good. I would say then you feel better than most people
Yeah.
because great is not the same as just good or okay or average. That's kind of life we want to have. So yeah, it interested me. I wanted to have Shayna on the show just because of some intelligent comments that she made. Is a conservative, and so there's so many things that we could talk about, and we just decided to make it, since she uh used to be on the left, or voted Democrat, to talk about her defining moment and her transition. So why don't we just go back to 2016? That was the year of an election with Trump, Hillary, and just talk about kind of what your beliefs and thoughts were at that time about both parties, and about Trump and Hillary. Your expectations.
Okay, so 2016, I voted for Hillary Clinton. Um, so I never really was into politics until after I voted for Hillary. Um, I wanted to find answers to questions that I had, like why she lost, how did Trump get in? Because at the time I didn't care for Trump due to watching the news and inhaling the propaganda that came with it. So, like a lot of people on the left, I thought he was a racist. Um, until I started to turn the news off and read. Actually,
Hmm.
started reading articles, independent sources, books. Um, but meanwhile, on one side, I had my brother who was always in my ear because he would try to get me off the plantation, as his words. Um, for years, he had been telling me that the Democrats were never really for the black community. But 2016, yeah, I just always voted Democrat for as long as I could vote up until 2016. Um, so after that, I started tying into what I started to take heed into what my brother was saying. Um, a lot of things he said. He's not crazy about both either party, but really cannot
Hmm.
stand the Democrats. Like he loathes the Democrats. So I just started to kind of read sources that he was giving me to read, um, like some books I started to reread, like George Orwell, 1984. But that was towards like 2019, 2020. That's when my eyes
Hmm.
really opened.
Government
But
control.
yeah, so I just started reading articles instead of watching the news, and realizing, oh, Trump did this. So I see funded. You got Congress to fund HBCUs for 10 years.
Yes. Yes.
The First Step Act, um, the Johnson pardon. So all these things made me say, well, maybe he's not the racist that the TV is telling me that he is.
Yeah.
So I started to lean right. I think I was always in my mind conservative because, I think most black people are. Um,
Really?
I always had traditional values, things of that
Yes.
nature, like regarding marriage, school. But I voted Democrat um, because I'm black. You're supposed to vote Democrat, is what
Right.
I've been
Right.
taught.
Right.
But when I started doing research and looking things up on my own and realizing the history of the Democrat Party versus Trump policies that I was seeing at the time, I'm
Hmm.
like, wait a minute, my interests seem to align more with conservatism um, versus what's on the left versus, you know, being liberal. Um,
Yeah.
so 2019, 2020 is when my eyes really opened with the COVID because the COVID actually got me to pull out the Constitution. Like I actually started reading that. Um, now, okay.
Yeah. So I want to spend a portion of time talking about COVID and the pandemic. First, let me just talk with you a little bit about the Democrat Party. You mentioned the history, and different people shows, right? We got subscribers. There are people that are once and done. So we kind of repeat some information because for many it's the first time. And one thing or a couple of things is just starting with the right to vote and how the Democrats suppressed that. They didn't want blacks to get the right to vote. Coming all the way up until the 60s and Jim Crow, and Republicans were fighting for and trying to make it equal and even. And I just remind people, or maybe they're learning for the first time, but um,
Mhm.
all of the slave owners voted Democrat, and Lincoln was the first Republican running on running on the bill, running on a ticket with the Republicans as the anti-slavery party. Their very first candidate freed the slaves, and so there's kind of been two different mindsets. With one of what can you give me, what can you do for me, or like with the basically what the slave master was, because the slave master took better care of the slaves than anybody: food, clothing, shelter. And then I just go back to this and then kind of come up more to the present. But um Willie Lynch, the slave owner, slave driver, and who had this convention in Virginia teaching and telling other slave owners who had a problem controlling their slaves. And there was lots of uprisings and rebellions. And good old Willie, which is where we get the term lynching from, he said, y'all got it all wrong. You need to, first of all, divide them, which, we see today division by identifying people as groups. Let's focus on this, and then let's create a group. And it's kind of the same thing, but pitting people against each other. And then this is documented. Like he did a handwritten letter that correlated with his speech that day. And he said, the most important thing above everything else, you must make them think that you love them, that you care about them. Because when you got somebody up here, you can unclap the shackles and you don't have to worry about them escaping. So they started to do this. And some people may argue against me. I think that's one of the big reasons why after slavery ended, that there were tens of thousands of African Americans who asked or begged their slave master if they could stay on a plantation and work for free. They felt like part of the family. I mean, there are many who escaped and many who got beaten, but they obviously didn't feel like family and was really willing to risk their life and go through Underground Railroad and get as far away, clean and as far away as possible. So you come up to today, and the Democrat Party, this emotional theme, like, I care about you. I feel what you're going through, and we will legislate. We want to empathize with anyone and everyone. And just speaking spiritually and talking about Christianity, I would argue that all of their policies are anti-biblical. And we call we say conservative, and most Republicans are conservative, and conservatives is short for Christian conservative. And the values of that party really line up, with the Bible. So that's kind of their business model, is to make people, go after these groups individually, make them think that they love them and care about them, and then to get their vote, But go ahead, I'll let you interject.
Yeah. So and that's how I look at it. I look at it as Republican is the party of God, family, and 2A guns, versus Democrat Party is the party of over regulating. It's anti-biblical. Marriage rebranded, all this gender ideology. So I look at it as Republican is the party and conservatism is the lifestyle.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my thinking.
And then, I don't know if you're old enough to remember George Herbert Bush's vice president, Dan Quayle. During the time that they were in office, Quayle said children need to grow up with a mother and a father in the home. That they need to have both together. Like, who would be against that and fight against that? And so then the Democrats, they spun that because they panicked. They're like, no, we don't. They don't want fathers and mothers to be together, because then the single parent can be married to the government. And that's what they want. So they tried to spin it around and saying Dan Quayle is spewing hatred and criticizing people that grew up parent home. And I know plenty of people, by golly, that turned out to be great citizens and only grew up with a mother or a father in the home. But he never said that. You're just saying basically that traditional family value, that you need a mother and a father. I mean, did anybody ask the children? Because if it was up to them, they would like to have both of them in the same home. Except, of course, when there's abuse or illicit activity or something that would be bad for the child. And so, I remember that. And like, why would you be against that? And I bet you most people don't know about Black Lives Matter, saying that they wanted to disassemble and break apart the nuclear family. They said they wanted to remove the father and the husband from the home. And how anti-biblical or demonic is that? But when you kind of indoctrinate people or shame them for thinking or doing anything different, it's like I have to co-sign on what they say and what they offer. And it's so bad. And so, and I just connect the dots and put pieces together. They said that they wanted to do that. It was on their website. Oh, somebody took a screenshot and printed it out or something before they took it down. because they did take it down because they saw that they were losing followers.
Yeah, they took that part out. The anti-nuclear family part out. Their website.
Right. And then on another day, one of those founders said that they are trained Marxists. So you put the two together, and with them knowing that nobody's gonna take Marxism over capitalism unless capitalism is destroyed and crumbles. And then everything is at a ground level, ground zero, and then you can offer somebody different. It's kind of like if somebody is very thirsty and hasn't had anything to drink, you can offer them some dirty water, they'll take it because they feel like dirty water is better than no water at all. And so that's how you crumble society. Like everything like goes back to the family. And every problem in society, from the structure of the family. You destroy the family and you really destroy the nation.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, and then I could go through a quick short list about Joe Biden, Kamala too, but
Joe
yeah,
Biden's handiwork with his time in the Senate in the 70s.
yeah. So let's see. Now, when he was first against busing, when Kamala was debating him on stage back when she was running for president, and she said that he was racist
Mm-hmm.
because she was one of those little girls who was trying to get a better education in another community or another city. Listen,
Right.
when somebody is accused of something or someone says something to them and their response is to look down, that means they feel guilty. Guilty as charged. Look at me. Whereas if I'm being accused or caught out doing something I didn't do, I'm going to look at the person like they're crazy. And my eyes are going to get big and say, what? What do you mean? And that's what Biden did. That was his response. He looked down. So, that, and then later, this is on video, getting into the 80s. Biden said that he didn't want busing to happen. He didn't want integration because he didn't want his wife and his mother to live in a racial jungle.
Biden was a segregationist. He
You know,
authored legislation with actual KKK members.
yeah,
Jesse Helms, James Eastland. I can name a few. Strom Thurmond. That was his mentor, and Robert Beard too. But
yeah. What's the irony of that? Strom Thurmond had had a daughter by a black woman and told her to keep it a secret until he died, which we know he lived a very long time. So now this woman had to wait till she was 76 years old or something and then come out because my daddy is ashamed of me.
yeah.
I have to be my daddy's secret.
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, Senator Robert Byrd, who was a Klan member, and Biden gave the eulogy at his funeral. Now, I don't want to hear about, people that they don't realize one day they might be running for president and they're not aware of what they do. No, he was a politician at the time. So he should have known that would have been political suicide if it ever came out. And for all the
didn't he try to run for president or something and was disqualified due to plagiarism?
Yes, thank you. So that was in 88 when he was running with who was running then was I guess
Dukakis?
let's see. Yeah, right, Dukakis, because Clinton was 92.
Mm-hmm.
Remind me to come back to Clinton in a minute, but so he was running, he didn't get the nomination, but he didn't even get that far. So he got kicked off the campaign trail by the Democrats because of plagiarism.
Yep.
Yeah. Jesse Jackson ran for president. He was actually a better candidate and did, he did pretty well in the caucuses and Iowa running. So they kind of got behind him. Right. And this is all information that anyone can look up. But then I just want to mention, because we hear about MAGA and how this is supposed to somehow be mad to want America to do great or be great. But what it really is, because that's that's an acronym that Trump coined, that is associated with him. But I just want to say to people again that when Bill Clinton announced that he was running for president, which I guess would have been in maybe in 91, just gave a short speech, right? And when he said that he was running for president, he said, "And I'm gonna make America great again," and the whole audience went, "Woo, yeah!" Because what kind of anti-patriotic loser doesn't want America to be great? But sometimes people pay attention to the mouth that the word comes out of instead of the actual words. So that was never a problem. And then when Trump is running for president, he says he wants to make America great again. And then the Democrats are like, antebellum. He wants to take it back to slavery, and
wants
just
to make us white, lily white. That's what you always hear.
Yeah. But the first time, because I never knew about Biden. I had to do some retrospective work and go back. The first time that I had ever seen him in real time was when he was on a campaign trail with Obama. And me being an open-minded person, I'm like, oh, okay, this is his running mate. I'm interested to see what he says and what he's talking about. And soon after that, probably the year before Obama got elected, Biden visits the black church, because the Democrats are famous for hijacking Christian services on Sunday morning in our church, not with the Methodists or the Episcopalian or
The
Catholic.
503 churches.
I mean, prime time, 9:00 Sunday morning. We're not going to talk about God while I'm here. We come in and just not even once a year, once every 4 years. It's so obvious. But I don't think he was in the church, but Biden said, if you vote Republican, they gonna put y'all back in chains. And it's like, wow. This person thinks that at the top of black people's list, the biggest fear we have and the thing that we're looking out for the most is that somebody's going to run us down and throw a net over us and clap some shackles on our wrists and ankles, And then what? The next Republican that won after that was Trump. And look, nothing. It didn't happen. And just trying to scare somebody. But they get together because they look at people as groups and not individuals. They got together, before they go out campaigning or before Biden went there. I'm sorry. Let me kill this thing. See if I can turn it down. And okay, that's good. All right. We get back to what I was saying. I lost my track or train of thought for a second.
Mm-hmm.
If you may remember what I was saying.
Yeah.
But
Obama selecting Biden as his vice president.
Yeah.
He claims that Republicans were going to put black people in chains, and why would that be the priority?
Oh, yeah. So I was just going to say that they get together in these groups, and because they look at blacks and other people as groups, they say, well, what does this group want? What does this race want? So that we'll know how to cater to them, instead of saying that all people basically want the same thing, regardless of their race, which is to have a good job, a good family, to live in a safe neighborhood, and to be healthy. But I guess the Republicans cornered the market on that already, so they can't steal people away from the Republicans based on that. So they're just going after everything that's outside the circle of sanity, outside the circle of, what the Republicans are running on. And so, just like Biden at the Morehouse graduation, what do the black people want? We need to make them think that we're their friends. So, that we're empathetic to the struggle. We understand the struggle. So this guy goes to a college graduation and he's talking about, oh, how rough and how bad it's going to be. It's going to be hard out there. Really? I don't know any black person, not just with a degree, but even without a degree, any black person who has a valuable skill and a good work ethic that is not able to find a job. Is there racial discrimination? Yes. Does it exist? Yes. But people discriminate when it comes to 10 different things, including gender, age, weight, or maybe Italians are interviewing somebody for a position and a hillbilly comes in and they don't like them. They don't identify with them and think that they're very different and strange, even though they're technically both the same race or European, and can discriminate against them. So there's many things. But this is kind of a statistical thing that lines up with that. People have a valuable skill that they're going to be able to get a job in that line of work, and not just because of the law or because a company saying that they're an equal opportunity employer, but because companies have figured out we do best when we hire the best people. We're making a product. People aren't buying. They never see the folks in the factory or whoever's behind the scenes. We're known by our product. We want a good product. We want to stand behind it, and that's what the customer wants, or the service, whatever it is. So I'm telling you, just trying to hold us back in an old way of thinking. But it's just, I just want people to pay attention. Just pay attention to. I'll say this: if something is truly a problem in society or an epidemic, then you're going to see it among the family that the friends or somebody in society. But if I don't want to hear driving while black, because if somebody gets stopped by the police, the first thing I'm going to ask is, what did you do wrong? Because that's how it is most of the time. And if that were really a thing, Shayna, you, me, and 5 people in our family and 10 of our friends, we wouldn't go a month without getting stopped by them. Is there profiling? Yes. Profiling exists. And this is coming from police officers. They admitted it. But it's not just on, it's not on race. It's not on race or color. It's on, and I'm not saying that is right. I'm just telling you the truth. Telling you the different kinds of profiling they have. They look at the kind of car it is, and like if it's got tinted glass, if they're playing their music loud, if they looked or act like thugs. You have the right to dress how you want to, as long as you're not indecently exposed. But I'm telling you, if you look like the stereotypical gangbanger or drug dealer, then they're going to be, cops are going to be on edge. They should always have probable cause and a reason to stop somebody. But there's a profile with if they're wearing a t-shirt or a baseball cap, and these other things. There's an association that comes with that. With many people that have a certain kind of behavior, you could pull them over and be the cop of the month or the hero at your precinct, because you may be more likely to find an open alcohol bottle in the vehicle, or some weed, or some kind of illegal drug in there. So that makes people stand out. But yeah, let me. I want to. I want to kind of stay somewhat focused on this. So, we're talking about your crossover from the Democrat Party, and so what were some other things that caught your attention, going from 2016 to 2020, or just what you would have seen coming from the Democrats or Hillary, during that time frame that made you also want to switch over.
Um, yeah, so like I was saying, COVID really made me realize how precious my freedoms were. Um, that was an eye opening moment because uh, parks were closed. I wanted to go play tennis, and I couldn't go play tennis. So that's what made me say, "Wait a minute, what?" Liquor stores were open, but I couldn't go play tennis.
Yes. Yes.
So that started a whole barrage of, all right, look, I gotta open the Constitution. I gotta
Yeah.
wait, what? So
Yeah.
realizing how my freedoms were precious and how the left was trying to get us to think that us wanting freedoms was selfish. So
Yeah.
yeah, so at 2020 I realized yeah, no, I can't vote Democrat ever again. Um between between Joe Biden um and his segregationist ways, um fighting tooth and nail against desegregation, and just looking at policies that the Democrats had. Like the Democrats wanted to shut us down, shut the
Yeah.
country down. But they always want to blame Trump, but Trump left it up to
Mhm.
the states.
Mhm.
So why are Democrats pulling out all these draconian
Draconian.
lockdowns? It was coming from
Yeah.
that side, not the side of the Republicans.
Right.
So um, then you're closing up small businesses, mom and pop shops were dying. But but you somehow Home Depot, Walmart, Target, they were open. So what was the difference between Walmart, Home Depot, Target versus a little mom and pop shop down the street? They had to be closed. So it
Yeah.
came down to freedoms for me. And I've never looked at my freedoms that importantly like I did in 2020 with COVID.
Yeah. And during that time, during the pandemic, what happened with the mask mandates and the vaccine mandates were a test market to see how much they could control people.
It was a
Because if
litmus
they
test. Absolutely.
yeah, Biden, who wasn't in his right mind by the time he got elected, and was just doing what they told him to do. He said, 100 million vaccines in the first 100 days, and they weren't approaching 100 million being vaccinated. See, the Democrats want to be God, and
Yeah.
so if there's 100 million people vaccinated, and they were able to do that, he could take credit for it. And when the pandemic subsided, he could say, "See, I swooped down and saved all of you.
Mm-hmm.
We sent over $100 billion to Ukraine to help them win the war, so
Mm-hmm.
that hopefully they can win, and then we can get up on a pedestal in the United Nations and say we made the world safe for democracy. I did that." Not knowing that Ukraine is not going to win, just because they don't have the numbers. They don't have the numbers to win. So we neglected America, the wildfire in Maui, and about East Palestine,
Tornado.
Ohio, with the
Yep.
train wreck and the chemicals, and just not taking care of our own, not taking care of our own, and sending this money, uh, foreign, outside the U.S. So this is why Biden said, he looked in the camera and said, all of you anti-vaxxers or those that don't want to get a vaccine, I'm losing my patience with you because you're throwing a monkey wrench in my plans, what we want to do. And then,
He declared
Kamala
war on the
was
unvaccinated.
declare war. On the on unvaccinated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, and then the irony of that, and at the same time or in the next breath, they'll tell you that they want to let somebody do what they want to do with their own body. Now, slide your sleeve up so that I can stick this liquid into your body.
Yeah.
Yes, it's a contradiction. So they're not going to tell you the real reason behind stuff, because the real reason is horrendous. They're trying to sell it. They're trying to sell these ideas. Just kind of like how we call death insurance life insurance, because if you called it death insurance, it wouldn't sell very well. Yeah.
Wouldn't buy into that.
Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, I was gonna say, when Kamala was, when she was the attorney general, or something in California, before she started for president, she made a statement about, in San Francisco, we need to go inside people's homes and start collecting guns,
Yeah, I remember that. I do remember that.
which is totally against the Second Amendment. Now, it's an interesting thing with the amendments, especially the Bill of Rights, is not just the first 10, but it's a foundational thing. Like, it's an order of importance.
Right.
So if the First Amendment and the Second Amendment go away, you can forget about the rest of it. The rest is going to fall like a house of cards.
Correct.
Not having freedom of speech, which they tried to censor people, from saying what you want to say. And listen, if the left had have left alone Twitter, then Elon wouldn't have felt the need to come in, change it to X, where anybody can say what they want to say, because they were having censorship and kicking people off because you say something, anything that was going to come against Democrats being elected, or the Hunter Biden. Don't even talk about Hunter Biden laptop. We're going to kick you off of here. We want him to get in there. And Project Veritas, which was a hidden camera program interviewing people. There have been people that work for CNN, producers, and work behind the scenes, who admitted, they said that they intentionally suppressed the Hunter Biden laptop story because they didn't want Trump to get elected.
Right. Yep.
I mean, what else? If text messaging and emails could be admissible in a court of law, then somebody on video, not knowing they're being recorded, that should definitely be evidence in people's minds. So they said this, and CNN like went through a restructuring, and they saw that they were having a lot exposed and peeled back, and we're losing a lot of followers. And thank God for just podcast period, not even this one, but so many that reach millions of people that were able to rival what mainstream media was saying. So I look at it as, it was a period of years where the podcasts were really keeping, the big news organizations in check, and causing them to come back on track, and instead of running way off the rails. Yeah. So yeah, and we're talking about the pandemic now. It is an intentional thing and just anti-productive to have the liquor stores open, and you're closing stuff down. You're making it law that people can't have someone in there. They can't have someone in their store unless they're wearing a mask.
But 10
Anthony,
days, 2 weeks to slow the spread. So what's the difference closing a park and then having the liquor stores open? But it was for your health.
right, right. Which when there's a lot of people they went to the bottle when they were losing their jobs. I mean, a lot of people lost their jobs, and things got hard, got rough for many people. But instead of going and getting alcohol to try to medicate it and to make themselves feel good, they should have turned more to exercise. And I really didn't see people on a federal level on either side talking about how if you just increase your vitamin D intake and lose weight, that you drastically reduce your chances of getting COVID. And we can't do that, because if you do that, you might not have to get Pfizer or Moderna, or something else over the counter.
Right, because
Right.
then you can't make a profit if you're not sick.
Yeah. And isn't or wasn't, I don't know about now, but Pfizer was like the number one sponsor of CNN.
CNN,
Man,
the U.S. Open, a lot of number one sponsor for a lot of people, companies.
can't make this stuff up. you know
I mean, they told
yeah,
us we needed more vitamin D, but then told us to stay inside. So you
right,
see,
away from the sunlight. Yeah.
yeah, but you want us to stay inside and lock down. Only one side was doing that.
Yeah, yeah, right. And then me and my family went to Cocoa Beach in Florida in 2020 Labor Day weekend, which is kind of the height, or still, just coming off of all the horrendous um deaths and the spread in New York. What was the average of 500 people a day dying going into Labor Day? And the pandemic lasted a couple of years, so we're talking about less than 9 months after it really took off. We went to Cocoa Beach and everything was open.
The free state
Everything.
of Florida.
We went to we were trying to do dolphin watching. Went to this certain lagoon or river, and somebody had a boat, you know just a yacht, or some kind of speedboat with a big banner, a nice canvas banner that was like 20 feet wide by 10 feet high, and it said, "Trump, no more bullshit." Like, really, no idea. And they're just living their lives. They're going 40 miles an hour or 50 knots or whatever, just waving at people. And
Yep.
then, yeah, Florida, a Republican run state. And then also in Texas, the
Florida
same
and
thing.
Texas.
Everything is open now. I mean, people are going to get sick, but it's kind of where you control it. You decide if you want to go in or out, or if you want to keep your business open. But for the government to get involved, and yeah, the small businesses, the sole propriety or proprietorships, having to shut down, it just killing people's business or family business.
And so my thing is, what's the difference in, okay, it's my choice to go outside, stay inside. Well, where were the pro-abortion, my choice, my body, my choice? Isn't it
Yeah.
linked? Isn't that the same concept?
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Right. Should be. And people need to pay attention to the messaging and the wording of these things, because again, they're trying to sell this stuff. So with abortion, you can call it abortion instead of extermination or baby killing. But as soon as they convinced people that it's not a baby in that woman's belly, everything else was par for the course.
Mm-hmm.
because then we're not talking about a human being.
Right.
We're talking about a clump of cells,
Well,
or you
mhm.
know, I mean, Hillary pushed for late term abortions, women that are 7, 8 months in or after birth abortions. I mean, what would you call that? Or how could you call it anything else? And I don't know where the money that the abortion clinics earn, where that goes, or when women pay to get the abortion, or if they're at all tied to the government. But Planned Parenthood, some of those different organizations Hillary was a part of, she had to be getting some kind of a profit or benefit from that,
Of course.
to go so hard and push with it.
Of course.
So not gonna call things what they are. Um, Again, they're trying to take away your rights. Just, ooh, sorry, I didn't know I was going to come up over the camera like that. But like this political cartoon that I bring up once in a while, where there was a king standing on the deck of his castle, and
Mhm.
there's like 500 people out there. Half of them have torches, half of them have pitchforks, and he's wondering what he's going to do. And then this little squire is standing off to the side going, but your majesty, you don't have to do anything. All you have to do is convince the people with pitchforks that the people with torches want to take their pitchforks away. And he's
Mhm.
like, yeah, yeah, I'll have them turn to each other. They'll eat each other. My enemies will take care of my enemies. And then I'll stay in power and I can keep blaming people. I mean,
I see.
divide and conquer,
Mhm.
divide and conquer. So, to say, yeah, the Republicans want to take away your right for an abortion. Everybody to agree on. So I think it was a very good idea to turn it back to the states.
Mhm.
So there is no federal ban on abortion. It used to be legal, nationwide for people to get it. So now it depends on the state. So if anyone has a criticism about a woman not being able to do that, they could go to their state government and complain. But don't complain about Sotomayor, Clarence Thomas, or Kavanaugh, or any of the Supreme Court. Don't complain about them, because I don't know. I'm glad we got 50 states, and not just one country where everything is mandated for everybody, and maybe the country is split up into 3 or 4 different provinces. Sorry, Canada, but you are an example of that. And you got 50 different states, 50 different labs, and so people can people can decide, uh or it kind of be a cooling off period for a woman, if she really decides that she is gonna do that, then would travel to another state. Or maybe she can do real Planned Parenthood and think, well, I don't think I'm ready to have children, so I'm gonna put things in place, and also lay with a man who's gonna help me put things in place so that I don't get pregnant. In other words, but again, if you don't believe that that's a life or a person or a baby, like it's nothing. It's like sorting your socks in a drawer. It's just a matter of how we're gonna organize this. So yeah, people need to. I don't know. I feel like one of the first doors that people need to walk through is walking out of the building of indoctrination.
Mhm.
Don't hang with or want to be around or be a part of any organization where you have to think and talk like everybody else.
But they want to be told how to think and what to say.
Most people are followers, and this is true. This is true. Um, and then there's a thing about the characteristics of a cult is that you can't question who's in power and you can't criticize them. And then if anybody tries to leave, like Jim Jones in Jonestown or whatever, he gets on the microphone and go, these people have been behaving out of line with the rules and regulations that I set forth. And then that's the crowd. What do you think we ought to do with these people? So it's like when in a cult, when somebody is wanting to leave, that's truly being woke or being awake, is your awareness of what is going on around you. That's what woke used to mean. You can't pull the wool over my eyes. And then it became something else. So when somebody wants to leave, then the other cult members shame them. It's the same thing in a prostitution circle. When a woman has the courage to leave her pimp, the other hoes get mad. No, I don't want you to be free. Like, why would you even care? And wouldn't you celebrate them and be glad that they're not in it anymore? But again, it's a cult. That's a small cult, but still. And then in things like Church of Scientology, because it's not just true in political parties like the Democrat Party and the Nation of Islam. It can also be true in religions or other places and other ways. And there was Leanne Remy, I think is how you say her name, that was on the King of Queens, right?
Leanne Remy, yeah.
And she's talking about some stuff she witnessed there, where there was a wedding of some celebrity in a hall, and somebody that was sitting in the seats in the audience just asked a question about how things were arranged on stage, like where the maid of honor is coming in from the left, or why do they have it set up like that? And they grabbed that woman, ushered her out of there, took her in the back, and beat the hell out of her. It's according to her, just for asking questions. Or if you got to think about who to vote for, you ain't black.
That's my favorite.
What you doing thinking, Negroes? That's not what we pay you for. Stop thinking.
Translation, and stay in line.
Yeah. He would have never said that, and never did say that to any other race. It's like, y'all so one-dimensional and you so shallow. Let me get down on my knees and talk to you like you're insects. You don't care about foreign affairs or about that. And similar thing with Obama. He went on tour a few months before the election. He's going around talking to black people, say, that our women have always backed us up. So now all of a sudden Kamala is black. You need to comply and back her up. You don't need to know about any of the issues.
Yep.
I'm just as much European as I am black, but I'm following my orders. They told me, no, we need you to be black, you black. They told her, you not Indian, you who we need you to be. And, and it's like to just try to get somebody to vote based on that. And also on that, little tour that Obama was doing, he said that Trump was Hitler. He said that Trump was Hitler. And then a few short months later, at Jimmy Carter's funeral, Trump is sitting next to Obama and they're yucking it up. You can sit anywhere you want. Why are you sitting next to Hitler?
Yeah.
unless you don't even believe that. You don't even believe that. But again, let me try to scare people into voting a certain way. And because of this large mass communication thing that they did, millions of people believed that. And so when the assassination attempts happened with Trump, like in Butler, Pennsylvania, like people are kind of numb, and they're saying mean things about it, like sorry the guy missed, but just that that somebody tried to kill him. It's no big deal because it's okay to kill Hitler. So all of this is by design.
Right.
I will give, on that subject, I will give Kamala credit because within a week of when that happened, she did get on camera and say that political violence is wrong. Any violence is wrong, but she's kind of in the same arena and playing the same sport. So it's like she doesn't want anybody to try to take her out. So it would behoove you to say something.
Right.
But yeah, they just talked about it a little bit for a week, and then just went back, just went back to talking about other news. And a president, he'd already been president, it got shot.
Yeah, that was, it
Not
was
anybody.
it was two assassinations. But to piggyback off
Yeah,
of
the other at Mar-a-Lago.
yeah. Um a lot of people are questioning that. Did it really happen?
Which one?
The first one.
Okay.
I've seen people questioning it. Um
Yeah.
I don't question it. I haven't
And
seen anything to make me question it.
when people say that or bring that up, I tell them or remind them that there was a firefighter who was standing in back of Trump that got blown away because he turned around and shielded his family.
Yeah, he lost
And
his life.
so that really happened. And then of course Crooks, he got blown away. I don't know why little old ladies audience were able to see this guy on a roof on a clear day before the Secret Service saw them, but he was able to get off half a dozen shots before they took him out.
Mhm.
That dude is, he was really killed, and he was in a BlackRock commercial like a couple years
Yeah,
before that,
yeah.
and on his cell phone within the last 4 or 5 weeks leading up to that attempt, there's phone calls to and from the Department of Justice. He's 20 years old. He's able to have conversations I've never had. I'm 56. He's on the phone with the Department of Justice. He's calling them, they're calling him. And then when the FBI goes to his house, there's no silverware in there. Because, you put spoons and forks in your mouth, it gets a little DNA on it.
Yeah.
We don't want this to trace to some other stuff so we can find out what's really going on. So no silverware, and then the whole place is immaculate. Somebody scrubbed it. Somebody got in there with some chemicals and brushes and scrubbed it, and there's no traces of anything. Now, do I know what's on the other side of that? No, but it is very suspicious. So I don't know a specific detail about that, but just like we pay attention to what's going on in the news with the thing with that last debate with Trump and Biden, where he was having all these memory problems and slurring his words, forgetting what he was saying in the middle of his sentences, and the Democrats knew that this is going to be suicide if we let him keep running. Right after that debate, within a week or so, someone's interviewing Biden and saying, so do you feel ready and energetic to go another term? And he was like, yeah, I'm the best I've ever been. I'm ready and willing to do another 4 years. And then less than 2 weeks later, he resigns. And in the resignation letter, it doesn't say why. Right? Really, really suspicious. And then Jill Biden says that Nancy Pelosi kicked out Joe Biden. So I'm not surprised, because a couple years before that, or like in 2021, Pelosi said, we might have to invoke the 25th Amendment if he's not able to continue, if he's not able to keep going. So I already know, without me being in the Situation Room, I know that they came to Biden and they said, listen, You can grace and still have some dignity, or you can be the first president to be removed because of the 25th Amendment because you're mentally unfit.
Mm.
Remember, Shayna, after Biden resigned, then he's wearing a MAGA hat. He's so bitter and resentful. Now he wants Trump to win. You would have never seen him in a MAGA hat before. And then after Trump won, he's sitting next to him in the White House, and Biden's grin is bigger than Trump. And Biden said, "See, I told you, if they had left me in there, I would have won."
Or how about electing Kamala without a primary?
Yeah, that's I don't know if that's illegal, but it's the first time, the first time ever that had happened.
But isn't that taking away democracy?
Yeah, right, because she wasn't picked. They could have just in less than 2 weeks had a special election or something, or maybe just in Iowa. I don't know, but just let people decide. What other Democrat would you like to see run, or who you would have voted for? Because she wasn't their first choice. They were scrambling and trying to get somebody else.
Yeah, I don't think they believe Kamala could win. I don't even think Obama believed that Kamala could win. That's why he was so late endorsing her. Remember, it took him like a week.
when Biden was first running for president in 2020, Obama didn't endorse him. He endorsed Mike Bloomberg. Didn't endorse Kamala, endorsed Mike Bloomberg. And then when there was nobody else left, when Biden was the only one, they went and visited him at Martha's Vineyard and twisted his arm. And he said, all right, I got it. I'll do it. And I understand y'all will give me a platform every once in a while to come out here and speak, and there'll be cameras and microphones. But Obama didn't like Biden. And he never, I don't know if you ever saw the video where Obama was ignoring Biden at the party.
Mm-hmm.
He was walking through the crowd, and Biden kept tapping him on the shoulder. Mm-hmm. Just,
kept walking. Yeah.
Right. But nobody questioned. Yeah.
Nobody questioned it.
Yeah. But so just kind of say where you were with the last election, and things that changed, and what made you, I guess, be confident to come over and vote Republican in 24.
2020 was the first time I ever voted Republican in my life. In 2024, I felt even more secure that I was voting the right way. That I made a good decision.
Sure.
I was proud of my vote.
Yeah.
Still proud of my vote, regardless of all this Epstein.
Yeah, or the tariffs, or whatever else. I mean, to think if Biden had been elected is just scary, especially with the mental decline, the progressive mental decline of him over the last 4 or 5 years. For him to it's a scary thought.
Can you imagine Kamala as president and her socialist ideology and policies?
I don't know if I've ever heard an original idea from her since she started running. I believe that she would get in there and be a better puppet in full control of her mental faculties, but still she's gonna do what they tell her to do. I believe that would have happened. That she would have been just the poster girl for the party, and again focusing on race and
Gender.
They think that Americans are so stupid that they're saying that the people that didn't vote for Kamala is because they didn't want to see a woman president. Well, if that's true, then Hillary wouldn't have gotten the majority of the popular vote.
Right.
So what?
Or the United States wasn't ready to to see a black woman as president.
Oh, so it's so stupid. Yeah, right. It's so stupid. Um, hey, give me a second. I need to plug in. I know I probably should have had it already, but I thought I had enough power. Let me plug this sucker up, and I will be back in 1 minute. We'll continue. Okay, putting my earbuds back in, and Riverside is so smart that it knows to just take out that. So, uh, you have anything you want to leave the viewer with, or anything that you're working on that you would like to promote? Tell them a site or something where they can go to. That you would like to let them know about.
Um, Let me see. You mean like sources?
Yeah, or it could be something that you're doing yourself, or an organization that you endorse, or website that you think is doing a good job, or just anything that's coming up that you want to let them know about.
Um, Turn off the news. Start reading on your own. Uh,
Yeah.
I don't really know. Um, just I don't know. I don't know.
What are your top three news sources that you listen to or read, or that you trust the most now in
Um,
2025?
I do a lot of Substack. So like I listen to conservatives like Glenn Lowry. Um, a lot of different conservatives.
Hmm.
The Free Press is a source. Uh, CNN, but like you have to read it. They give you more information when they're in their articles versus watching the news.
Sure.
Um, so I would advise, and if you have a business or a dream of starting a business, go for it.
And then something that I just remind people of on here with investigating things and finding out the truth is that most of the time things are not as bizarre or outrageous as we may think. So if someone sees or hears a sound bite or a video clip that's 10 or 20 seconds long, and it just sounds like scorched earth, that's super is super scary or outrageous or offensive, those are the ones that you really want to go and check out, and read two or three articles on it.
Mhm.
Things that are articles that are in print. There's no time constraint on it. There's nobody speaking about it on television where they have a limited amount of time. It's published and put out there, and you can take as much time as you want. Most articles that I read, it takes 5 to 10 minutes on the average to go through the whole thing, and you are guaranteed to find out some facts and details about the case that were not in that in that clip in that thing that they want to get your attention. So we're gonna wrap it up now. We had a good full show here, little over an hour. Thank you everybody for listening to us and checking out what we had to say here. I thank Shayna for being on the show, and just a couple different places where you can follow us: YouTube, Spotify. There's a Facebook group. We're on Instagram and Twitter. And if you have any comments where you want to talk to the other people that are watching, other viewers, then I'll say put that in the YouTube comments. If anybody wants to send us a message, or you have an idea or criticism about something, then email us. And that would be brutehonestradio@gmail.com. Everybody, if you haven't already, subscribe to the podcast, click the notification bell. Have a great week. Stay safe, and I'll catch you on the next episode. Bye now.